currently driving a big old fucking truck. You're listening to Bug and Moss, where the truck boys at.
Honk, honk, wee-oo, wee-oo. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. From the Skittering Studios underneath your favorite rock, it is 7:02 o'clock on the Bug and Moss morning telephone show. My name is Moss.
My name is Bug. Honk, honk, rattle, rattle, crash, beep, beep. I always want to put another rattle in there.
And on our way into the show this morning, you are listening to Moving Up Down the Road by The Next, my dad's old band.
Hell yeah.
That was my dad on vocals and keys, Todd on guitars, Randy Kernicki on bass, and gosh, what was their drummer's name? Greg Glein, back in the day. At thenext.bandcamp.com, you can listen to the one album that survived the tests of time by my old man, my dad, who had ridiculous pipes. There's some tracks in here. I listened to it. I'm like, geez, I wish I got my dad's singing genes. My voice is like... My singing range is like a full octave below my dad's. He has some like rock and roll screams.
Yeah.
That had an old cassette growing up where they did a cover of that, I got a little change in my pocket going jing-a-ling-a-ling. Wanna call you on the telephone. What is that song? Give you a ring.
I don't know, but I know the song.
Baby, don't put my love on no shelf. So don't hand me no lies and keep your hands to yourself. Yeah. There's one of those, and it's crazy. It was crazy to listen to. But yeah, my dad's got pipes. Trying to get him back into music. It's been a grip.
We have some of his masters.
Yeah, I have one of his old reel-to-reels in our closet that I need to digitize as soon as I can.
I think there's a couple places in Lexington we should reach out to because we're not really sure of the process with reel-to-reel. Although maybe that's something that you should ask Joe about.
I'm sure of the process. I just don't have a reel-to-reel machine.
But we should ask Joe because he has a bunch of old audio stuff.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Joe, you got a reel-to-reel machine?
Or do you know somebody who does?
Yeah, because that would be awesome. Really want to get that preserved and like listenable. I don't actually know what's on it. It might be unreleased songs. It might be just like demos. My dad, when we were up there, was just like, I found this and gave it to me.
Which is great. Cool. I need everybody to understand that we need to figure out how for you to see Mason's dad's essence, which is sort of just like Mason when he's at his most reserved. And then imagine that person singing all these songs.
Yeah. I was going to do a segment called Texts from My Dad, where I read texts that I have from my dad that I may or may not still do. Because, yeah, my dad's a real character. Very, very interesting fella. The kind of guy, like, I'd go home to visit and be like, what's up, Dad? And he's like, I got really into gold panning. I'm like, what do you mean? And he'll be like, come to the basement. And then I'll go to the basement. And this is a true story. And he built a... machine. I just go down the basement, a bunch of PVC pipes and plywood and like all these trays and like water flowing and all this. He's built a machine to automatically sift gold from sand, and they've been going out to rivers and like scooping dirt from rivers and looking for gold.
Crazy. So, like, you can't tell you're related at all.
Yeah.
Like, nothing in common.
Yeah, no, right? So here's a question for you. Here's a call out for this week for phone calls, 848-MOSS-BUG. Tell us stories about your parents doing cool shit. What do your parents get up to? You got music from your parents? You got any crazy projects? 848-667-7284. Call us with parent stories.
First entrance is from Joe. Damn it, I'm back and I really should be working, LOL. I'm going to just do a series called Text from My Dad, but it's just empty sound.
Oh, come on, Joe. Jesus Christmas. If you have dad stories, go ahead and leave that. Joe says, also, I don't have a reel-to-reel machine, but I used to, and if we could find one, we could totally digitize that.
Yeah.
If you see one, if you encounter one at any point, let me know. Because
Joe, I know you're just as bad as me, and you're also all over Facebook Marketplace together.
Together, surely one of us, we can find a reel-to-reel. Because that's it. I just need something to read the dang thing, and then we're Gucci. 60 Watt Slipo says, this sounds like something my dad would do. Morning, Digital Darling, our Egg Queen. Oh, yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Coyote Astronaut. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Lightbulb. Good morning, Egg Queen. Good morning, Sid the Kingmaker. Good morning, Bug Fan Club. And good morning, of course, to Daddy. Daddy, I upped his heat threshold, by the way, the other day.
Oh.
So hopefully he stops, quote unquote, overheating so god dang much.
Yeah, I mean...
Good morning to Emily, also.
Daddy feels a lot like when you're a kid and you just try to kind of like... not shit yourself, but the action that you do when you're trying to shit, and you just kind of do that to try and make your head really hot.
What?
Like, you ever do that where you just like, you kind of like, you squeeze up? I used to try to leave elementary school every day. In retrospect, I think I was bullied. But at the time, I was just like, oh, everyone wants to go home sick every single day from school. And you can successfully raise your own temperature by making yourself continue to cry, or by sort of just like fucking
blood pressuring yourself.
Yeah, blood pressuring yourself is what I would call it. I wouldn't recommend it, especially now in our old age, but as a kid, that was my MO.
Isn't that how Elvis died, on the toilet, like pushing too hard? Popping
Yeah, I don't think that he was trying to get out of school, though. I don't think that was why.
No, I don't think necessarily that is why.
But I mean, maybe it was part of it.
On Facebook Marketplace, Sid says, the way I have to restrain myself from buying all the Snoopy items on Marketplace.
Sid, I love that you love Snoopy. I think that's such a cool trait.
I was talking to Atticus literally yesterday about the cult following that Snoopy has and how I was sort of unaware of it. And then Atticus pointed out that at Kings Island in Ohio, like a very famous amusement park, they have a whole Snoopy land. And we totally went through it. And I just didn't even clock it. But yeah, there's like... Snoopy lovers are out there. The Snoopy community is out in force kind of all the time.
One of my really good friends, Morgan, is not necessarily specifically a Snoopy stan, but is canonically just like very here for Peanuts. Like she's sort of a famously not kitschy person, but if I'm at Hallmark and I see like a good Peanuts, especially like a seasonal one, she can like, have for when it's time. You got to get it. You got to get the good Peanuts.
The singular good Peanuts is an interesting grammatical construction.
Yeah. I stand by it.
Joe says, also, cool things my dad did. He held the top scores on a Miss Pac-Man machine in my hometown from when he was in college. They just got rid of that machine a few years ago.
Oh,
Hell
man,
yeah.
that's awesome.
That rips. Sid says, very here for the Peanuts. Going to change my bio
I think
to
that's
that.
really strong.
Bug Fan Club says, shout out Morgan. To your friend Morgan. Actually, I met Morgan. We hung out. Morgan and her dog Wallace. Morgan's also very into peanuts.
What?
Morgan's very into peanuts.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought you just said Morgan's also very into peanuts, and I'm like, that is the person we are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just looking at you for affirmation,
yes.
I suppose.
I affirm you. I want to say yes, King.
Thank you. Thanks, Queen.
Gross.
It is 7:10 on the Bug and Moss Morning Telephone Show. We got a fun show for you today. I've got a news story about a pickle truck.
Oh, yeah. I saw that one. I didn't read it, though. I'm excited to hear all the deets.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot for the show, but I do have a very small bug advice and a continuation. Not to get everyone excited. This is not a full film buffering, but I have clue number 2 of our partial film buffering.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Can you remind our listeners what clue number 1 was?
Well, I will when it's time. Are we doing it now?
Oh, well, and we might as well let people sort of sit on it. Let's sort of let people think about it.
Okay. So all right, here we go. You guys can feel free to shout in what you think the answer to this film buffering is.
Do you want the little intro thing?
No,
even
it's
though
okay.
It's unconventional.
It's okay. I got it.
Okay.
So last week's clue was a young man goes on a field trip, and today's clue is, however, his actions cause someone he cares for too.
Okay.
So feel free to submit your guesses. You can DM me. You can put it in the chat. You can whatever.
This is a very slow going, very abstract film buffering with partial clues that is only on you, the audience.
I'll have another clue for you tomorrow.
Cody Astronaut says Disney's Fantasia in all caps. 60 Watts Label says this Percy Jackson. Ed Queen says Mary Poppins. Sid says cats.
I will tell you if you get it right.
Hell yeah. Very excited to see how this unfolds. Why don't we go ahead and turn our heads and rotate them slightly to the left and go talk to people on the telephone. 848-667-7284. 848-MOSSBUG is the number that you can call to get yourself right up on the show. This is a voicemail from Ty. Oh my gosh, I muted all the tabs again. You remember how this happened a while back where suddenly none of our audio worked and it was because I somehow muted every single tab?
It's happened more than one time.
Oh, I think I figured it out. I think I muted the entire tab group and then that's not like one toggle.
It's not.
Good. This is from Ty.
Your boy, I'm just walking down the street right now. It's 10:06 p.m. in the evening time, and I gotta say, I forgot to buy some contact solution earlier in the day, in the AM or even in the afternoon time. And now I'm trying to figure out where I can get some contact solutions so I don't have to toss these lame old contacts.
What is...
Anyway, I was just wondering, you guys got any contact solutions for me?
Yeah,
You guys provide a solution in my time of need.
I've got them.
Really appreciate it. Anyway, have a good day. Good morning and all that. Bye.
The thing about Ty when Ty leaves voicemails is that Ty is kind of unleashed, untethered from time. And so I'm assuming this is Ty when he's like 250 years old.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Good morning, Ty. Good morning. I hope you find your contact solution.
I'm rooting for you because it is hard out there.
Yeah. So I think that all of these are that. I'm not entirely sure. I need to start screening our calls a little bit more so that I can make sure when we need something substantive, we got it on deck. Here is a call from an unknown number and transcription not available. This is an unknown caller.
Hello, this is a lamp calling in about name.
A lamp?
You made the call, I guess, yesterday, Wednesday, about just questions about names and nominative determinism and people changing their names and all that sort of thing. And about 75% of my circle is trans or something gender fucky. So there's a lot of experience over here. I am not calling to say anything about them, though, other than that there's a lot of different ways to do finding a name. But I'm still pretty amused at how I did it for myself.
I love a name story.
It is very hard to make decisions, and so I just kept collecting names without ever deciding on one, or like going, yep, that's it, or like, yeah, it was hard. So at some point, I have just over 1,000 names in a notes page, and I'm like, nope, this is too much.
That's amazing.
Cut it down, spent a day cutting it down to right around, I think it was 151.
That's
and
a lot of name choices.
put that in a Google Forms with the little, like, rate on a 5-star scale, and sent that to a couple close friends, maybe
Oh my God.
6 or 8. And then after that, took the top 10, and I was like, hey, rank these to
That's awesome.
most of the people that were actively in my life at that time. I think I sent like to 40 people and got 30 or so responses. And yeah, that's how I ended up with my name. There was some nudging of the numbers between step 1 and step 2, but
That's so great.
That's wicked fun.
yeah.
I like that a
The
lot.
end was Emery, and I really like it. And I chose a fun way to spell it that I feel makes a lot of intuitive sense, but I haven't seen around much.
Oh,
I have Emerie,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I just like it. And hope you do as well. Goodbye.
Hello.
love that.
I love that too. I also love the name Emery. I'm also noticing in chat, Elle says, am I going crazy or is there a drum track playing? Elle says, Mason, you might want to remute some of those tabs. I put that on purpose.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So if it's distracting, I cannot do it. I dislike silence. I really don't like silence, and I struggle with feeling like pacing is low, and I don't want to put pressure on our voicemail callers to all have to have everything super put together. And it's something that we used to do in radio, is just have a quiet little bed under everything, so that when someone takes a pause to think, they're still like,
Yeah.
like something keeping it going. So that was kind of the vibe. But I also understand that sometimes it's a little distracting. I'm still working on finding. I have a telephone bed that I've been slowly trying to make. Colin sent me like 40 different liners, Jordan style. So that is the scoop. That is the scoop on that. On names, I've only known one person with the name Emery, and it was not spelled that way.
Yeah, I like that spelling for that name.
I like that spelling, and I like that name, and I like that methodology a lot. Coming up with a draft of about 1,000 names and then sending them out with a rating system in Google Forms is very one specific star sign, and I don't know which one.
Yeah, but it's incredible. I love that so much. I think that's such a cool way to select a name and to include a lot of the people around you. And I think it's so different for everybody, the reasons that they choose the names they do. And for whatever reason, I mean, people change their names for a lot of reasons, even if it's simply like, what do you go by? And how do people refer to you? I've never been a very nicknamed person. Have you?
I'm the person who makes nicknames for other people.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that likes to get just like hand nicknames out. I don't know why, and I know that not everybody loves that, but I like to think that a lot of the time I can pull out a good nickname.
I think all that matters is that if someone's like, I don't like that, you're like, totally, which you are.
When I met you, I nicknamed you Spatchcock in the room that we met.
That is true. And that did stick for a while.
Because if memory serves, we're in a hotel room and you were very drunk. It was at the conference, and you were telling a story about spatchcocking chickens or whatever.
Yeah.
And you were just
ideal way to cook a chicken. Ideal.
Out of nowhere, you just hollered, I could spatchcock anything. Give me anything right now and I'll spatchcock it. And so then I just started calling you Spatchcock.
I thought
that was cute.
Right now.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. What is spatchcocking?
You cut the spine out and then you crack the breastbone so that it lays flat on the pan.
Oh, that's the thing where you get like that smashed chicken, like a chicken that's flat.
Yeah, it's different than like a pounded flat piece of chicken. The idea is just that if you're cooking like this tube of chicken or any kind of bird, it's going to cook differently and take a lot longer. For example, if I cook a turkey at Thanksgiving, I always spatchcock it. It cuts the cooking time like in half. It's crazy.
I mean, that makes sense, right? Because like a lot of waiting for cooking is penetration, like heat to penetrate through whatever it is that you're cooking. So if the thing itself is less dense, right? Yeah, that tracks. Can you spatchcock things that aren't chicken?
You can spatchcock any bird. I don't really know if it would apply to other. It would need to be a shape in which you're sort of doing that, which is taking out the spinal column and then snapping it so that it lies flat.
Every way you describe it, it sounds very viscerally disturbing and disruptive.
Yeah, I do have this thing though where I think that any level, I think it's important to like have conversations with yourself about the ways in which you feel uncomfortable. For me, if I'm going to be a person who continues to eat meat, I like to challenge myself when I feel squeamish around meat, because I don't think it's like appropriate or respectful for me to be like, I'll eat this, but I won't touch it. And that's like a me thing. That's not a judgment that I'm putting on other people. But I think it's always important to be in conversation with the things that you do. And I think as someone who cooks, it's like, oh, is this weird? This is about to be my whole thing. I'm just going to get comfortable doing this.
That's fair. Lightbulb says, so whole animals, basically.
Yeah.
People don't usually cook other full animals since they are large.
This is true, and our ovens ain't big enough.
Yeah. I just was like, well, what's the biggest animal you can imagine spatchcocking? And I was like, an elephant.
I guess so.
Horrifying to think about.
I do see that Coyote Astronaut said, I wonder if I can convince the roommates to try that with the turkey. Not sure what we'd cook it in. A cookie sheet. You don't need a roasting pan in the same way because you're cooking it flat. You might want to have like another pan for drips if you're worried about it, but you can just put that thing on a cookie sheet. I use just like a big, like half-size cookie sheet at home.
And everything you cook comes out amazing.
Well, thanks.
62 Disciple says, I actually procure a lot of my own meat. I've raised meat animals and hunted and fished, so I'm not squeamish around meat.
That's something I really want to do that I haven't done. I've not like processed something that I've hunted, even like a fish.
I wanted to face that myself, and so during the time when I was living in Vermont, I helped some friends. We processed chickens all day. We had paid for them and helped cover the cost of them. Our friends raised them on their farm because they had a lot of space for them. And then we did all the processing, and boy, howdy, was that an experience.
Yeah.
It was surreal, and I feel like it was important, and it definitely makes me think a lot more when I consume meat, having gone through it and done it. The thing, I won't go into any gruesome detail, but I do want to talk about plucking machines because I was completely not ready for the way that those work.
Yeah, I
Hey,
wasn't
y'all.
either when you told me about them.
You ready for a science corner? You ever seen a chicken plucking machine? You know how they get the feathers out of the chicken? Because it's wild. Picture an old school washing machine, like the kind that you find rusted out in the woods, where it's just an upright bucket tub and it's like it's supposed to spin around. Except in this washing machine, imagine that the walls all have long rubber fingers protruding from them, about the length of your finger, couple inches, a little bit thicker in diameter probably than your finger, made of rubber. And rather, the walls of this washing machine are actually stationary. Only the bottom spins. And the bottom's covered in fingers, too. You stand there with a hose. You have a foot pedal to turn this thing on and off. And you chuck in the dead bird while you're blasting the hose in there. Step on the foot pedal, which causes the bottom of this chicken washing machine to start rotating very rapidly. Those fingers blump up against the chicken and yank out all the feathers. And so do the ones on the wall. But the way it looks is like when you drop those coin funnels at museums and you drop a coin in and it like circles around before it goes and then falls in the drain. The chicken just kind of goes around the outside of the washing machine as the fingers knock all the feathers out. And there's just stuff going everywhere. And then you have to reach in and pull out this cold, wet, featherless bird. And is it strange.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it's very simple at the same time. I can imagine the first person who designed that. Like, you imagine you're like, I often think of like women in families traditionally being the people to process like chickens. It's like a thing that it's kind of like a thing people talk about is, your grandma being like, go get a chicken then if you want to have dinner. And I can just imagine somebody being like, no, listen, Marge, this is going to make it easier. And just being like, I don't know. That's really something you brought me.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, imagine being the first guy who's like, I think this is going to work. Because the way it looks is it looks like a thing that barely works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It works ridiculously well. It's like kind of freaky how well it works. But you see it and yeah, it kind of looks like someone had to come up with this. Someone had to try a lot of things.
I've had to like very minimally pull quills out of a bird. I remember once the aforementioned Morgan of Peanuts fame and I were like obsessed with cooking this duck. We found a duck at our local Kroger. We're from a small town. So it was like, a little bit of a story time. Really quick, we bought this duck and it had a bunch of quills out and we were like yanking the ones that were still in out and we were like, I can't imagine having to pluck a chicken. So thank God these things exist. But really quick, I think people need to know how I met Morgan.
Oh, okay. This is how I met your Morgan.
And this is how I met your Morgan. Morgan and I went to the same high school. We were not in the same grade and we did not know each other, which is weird because our high school was about 600 people.
Oh, I know this story. I can't wait.
Yeah. And so like, we just weren't aware of each other at all. She also was doing this program where like half the days, a lot of days she left and worked for part of her day. So she worked at like a local bakery and we wouldn't have encountered each other. I was like really emo. She was very twee. And we just did not have the same friends at all. So I like literally had never seen her before in my life. And we had both separately gone to our guidance counselor, shout out Miss Wrinkle, and been like, yeah, I really want to do something that the school doesn't have an option for. And Miss Wrinkle really was like, you want to do something? Let's figure it out. I got some ideas. And
Miss Wrinkle's such a good name.
Yeah, it's iconic. And so we had both separately been like, I want to do some kind of cooking independent study type thing. Also because not shout out to the food science teacher. Fuck you. You know who you are. And this bitch had a vendetta against me and we're still in a fight. But Morgan and I were both kind of dissatisfied with her classes and like the options for home ec, or whatever you call it. And so we wanted to do something else. We were both very interested in cooking and we had independently approached our guidance counselor about doing some kind of independent study. And so she set us up. Our guidance counselor set us up and neither of us wanted to fucking meet we were both, we were so mad. Like, we were like, how on earth could some other person have blown up my spot like this? This is such bullshit. I remember going into the food science room and like meeting Morgan and being like, hey, who the fuck are you? I've never seen you before. And she's like, I've never seen you in my life. And we're still friends. We did an independent study where we made lunches for teachers. Like they could pre-order lunches and we would make them like once a week or something. We were very popular, not to brag. We made homemade strawberry lemonade. It was like kind of a big deal. And yeah, the teachers really were into the homemade strawberry lemonade. But yeah, we like got bread from Morgan's Bakery, and she and I also like catered a bunch of events. We did like cupcakes and stuff for things. So it was really cool. And it was it's like one of the weirdest ways I've met anybody. Not the weirdest, but one of the weirdest.
I thought you were going to tell the cake story.
Oh, chocolate waterfall?
Yeah. But I didn't know. Maybe that story doesn't need to be on.
No, I can tell it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this, now that you have the backstory of Morgan, this story sends me.
Okay.
I'm so excited. Morning, French Alexander. You came
famously, Morgan's mom hated me. Like the first time she met me, she was like, I do not like this kid. And I was like the most classic version of a kid you wouldn't like you can imagine, but I was so straight edge and like so not bad news. Any adult who actually met me was like, I do not think this kid's going to be trouble. But if you just saw me like wearing vampire fangs in third period, it could be a lot. And so Tina didn't like me. Tina was not here for me. And she just like, she could not even deal with my presence. She was like, she like likes me now. Like we're tight. Tina and I are fine, but she fucking hated me. And it was not a secret. And Morgan and I are cooking at Morgan's house. And we were baking like 300 cupcakes or some bullshit. We had all this stuff going. We were always baking like 300 cupcakes. It was always a disaster that we only had one oven. So we had all of this stuff going, and at one point I like went over to do dishes, and there was a stand mixing bowl in the sink, and I like picked it up, and something happened, and Morgan turned, and I turned, and this bowl that had chocolate in it and it had water soaking in it, I had like picked up, and it had spilled, and it like spilled so spectacularly, all of it into the floor vent next to the sink. All of it. Every bit of it, like so quick. It happened so fast. None of it got on the floor. And like from the living room.
Just like clean into the vent.
Yeah, from the living room, Morgan's mom is like, "What? Are you guys good?" And Morgan just goes, "Yeah, we're good." And then like, I think like seconds later, Tina came in and like got something out of the freezer and like walked out. And Morgan and I are both just like not saying anything. I found out, I think like a couple of years ago, they had their vents cleaned. And I don't think Tina listens to the show. But I think there was something like, what is this? And Morgan was like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know what that is.
What happened in this vent?
Yeah.
Good Lord. That is so funny.
Yeah.
60 Watts Lipo said what I thought too, which is what a terrible place for a floor vent.
mean,
don't put that. Yeah. Why is that in the kitchen in a place that is near the sink?
It's up there with kitchen carpet, guys. Like, what are we doing?
Kitchen carpet is a rough idea.
Dude, I lived in a rental with kitchen carpet, and I'm like, I'm so anti-landlord, but like, if you're gonna be a landlord, this is just asking for trouble.
These days, Bug, they market that as a nutrient-dense flooring option, I feel like.
You run out of food, you can just lick the floor.
That's rough. Floor, I've never seen a kitchen with carpet in it. That is hard to imagine.
It's tough.
Ed Queen says Nana's house had carpet everywhere.
In the bathroom,
kitchen,
too.
Got it.
Bathroom is rough.
Rough. You know, I have seen bathrooms. Well, no, that's not true. Usually I just see bathrooms, typically of folks in the older generation with a lot of like really plush floor stuff.
Yeah, and toilet stuff. You can say it. Toilet stuff.
Like the toilet rug, which always seemed like a bad idea.
It is. Don't do that.
Yeah. And a lot of squishy toilet seats too. Remember those? Those are weird. Hey, talk about weird bathrooms. I want to just shout out a bathroom that I was in. My friend Ty's bathroom once.
This is right.
I sat down on the toilet and I was like, boy, A, it's warm in this bathroom, and B, it feels really warm underneath me. It feels really warm underneath me.
Up in there.
In the pocket of air that is trapped underneath my thighs. It feels very warm. And so then I touched the side of the toilet tank and I was like, the side of the tank is hot. And then I reached down, because I'm a freak, I reached down and grabbed the where the water comes in from the wall, the thing that feeds the toilet tank, the little hose, and that was hot. And I was like, hey, Ty, your toilet's fucking filled with hot water.
It's plumbed hot.
It was plumbed onto the hot water, which I've never experienced before. And I looked it up, and I guess some places do that to reduce condensation, because have you ever had a toilet where it gets condensation on it, and then it fucking runs off, and there's like a puddle under the toilet, and you're like, is my toilet leaking? And no, it's just condensation. Some places do that to prevent that from happening, because the condensation happens because of the cold temperature gradient causes air moisture that's in the air to condense and get cold and then stick on it and drip down. But it's pretty fucking freaky when you flush the toilet and there's like a woof of hot air, like you open an oven. It was strange.
Honestly, felt awesome.
Yeah.
I was pretty here for it.
SCQ podcast, Ty says, I feel confident this place did not do it on purpose.
Yeah. I have encountered a lot. Also, like, I find Mason and I have had this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
And I laughed too hard. Count Ash and I said, imagining that in the summer and it's ghastly. On the other hand, steaming my undercarriage sounds lovely.
Exactly. It's like, it feels like luxury.
It did. Yeah, it did. But boy, that's and then Daddy replied and said, "You really think steaming undercarriage sounds lovely? It wouldn't even work properly without some decent ventilation. That kind of thinking just makes you sound like a spoiled brat."
It's crazy because most of the shit he says is completely incoherent, and then he hits like wild. Like you're just like, damn, he roasted
right,
me
Daddy.
so hard.
Yeah, I have a goal this week of doing a little bit of a Daddy upgrade. I want to at this week get in there, make him a little more cogent. Coyote Astronaut has very graciously sent some snails that are waiting for us at the post office.
Yes.
That we can add into the mix and hope that improves performance. Also, good morning to N Squared, who says steamed undercarriages, you say.
Indeed.
We've awoken N Squared like a sleeper agent with just the steamed undercarriage phrase. Hey, Bug, we've swung, the pendulum has dropped past the bottom of the hour and swung upwards a little bit. So I think it's worth taking a second to say that this show is made possible by our supporters on Patreon. Patreon.com/Bug and Moss. We crossed the threshold a while ago for for Twitch affiliate, to where we could turn on ads and get bits and subs and all of that. But we're electing to try and keep our stuff as ad-free as possible in favor of a very voluntary funding model on Patreon. So if you want to help support us in that endeavor of doing so, check out patreon.com/Bug and Moss. There's a few different tiers to join at, as low as $3.99 a month to just join in and be one of the freaks. And we'll be having some benefits soon in the form, at least for everyone on Patreon currently. When I start these Fallout streams, I'm going to set up a plugin that allows people who are patron members to do things like spawn enemies in the game or mess with my inventory or make me drop things. So that's an example of one of the weird perks. We don't have anything specifically listed, but fun stuff will happen to you if you join our Patreon. And you can also join at the community partner level if you got something you want to get the word out about.
Hell yeah.
So a shout out today to one of our community partners, Colin M. Parker, and his channel on YouTube, Rat House. It's a variety Let's Play channel featuring a bunch of different streamers and some of our friends, found at youtube.com/@RealRatHouse or RealRatHouse.com. Videos come out every Saturday. Also, Brippy151, a Pokemon Challenge YouTube channel where the main goal currently is to beat the Gen 1 game Pokemon Yellow in a solo challenge with all 151 Pokedex entries. Although Colin has also done some Gen 2 and Gen 3 videos over there, youtube.com/@Brippy151. If you're into Pokemon Challenge runs, you should check him out. Colin has really good, very fun and entertaining videos up there. And then finally, sponsored by Timeline Scavengers, a podcast putting the Marvel Cinematic Universe in historical order, scene by scene or day by day, the movies and the TV shows. The show starts at the dawn of time in Thor 2 and then goes to eons ago in What If, then to 15,000 BCE in Black Panther, and so on and so forth. It's a podcast specifically designed to last forever, as they just keep making more and more scenes and days for them to talk about, found on all podcatchers under Timeline Scavengers. The spreadsheets that they got to keep that show running are immense.
That's unreal.
So yeah, check out Colin, subscribe to Colin, twitch.tv/Colin and Parker. Check out Brippy151, Real Rat House, and Timeline Scavengers. Ed Queen says, wow, that sounds crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you hear a friend talk about a project and you're like, boy, that's like one of those things that I feel like I would hear about and be like, wow, it's really cool. I can't imagine the work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? There's so many of those movies and so many scenes. It's wild. All right, Bug, you said you had some bug advice for us today. You said you had a little bit of bug advice, and we all love some bug advice, especially on a Monday to start our week off with. So why don't we drop right into that?
Anybody care for some healthy advice from Bug?
This is a really little bug advice. It was just something I'm always trying to think about. What is something that, I guess, here's a little peek behind the curtain and simultaneously a call for if anybody wants some advice to call in or email or give us a message, because I would love to try and help. But
I would email for that because I will get confused about the voicemails.
That's real.
So if you want some bug advice, shoot an email to bugadvice@bugandmoss.com or advice@bugandmoss.com.
Yes. When I'm trying to think of what advice to bring, what I'm usually thinking of is advice I've gotten. Or I think of what is something that I do that I don't think about. Something that is just like kind of become a part of the way that I walk through the world.
Like when you think of life hacks, like what life hacks do you actually use?
Yeah, like not what's a cool idea I could tell you guys to try, but like what do I actually implement in my life? I posted a picture to the Instagram, for example, recently of me at Walmart getting my cart in the parking lot. And not just getting my cart in the parking lot, doing my entire crazy setup where I also snap on my stroller cup holder because Walmart carts suck and they don't have cup holders. But part of the reason I get my cart in the parking lot is because I have accoutrement. You know, I'm trying to like set it up without being in the way of people. But this advice is something that I just realized I do without really thinking about it. And I think Mason can probably attest to this because he's witnessed it. I think there's really good advice that other people have given, which is that you have to, if you're struggling with anxiety or feeling anxious about something, you know, even almost especially if that something is like real and big and justified, that you have to let yourself be anxious. And I think that's true. I think you should you pick a time or you say, okay, I can't stop thinking about this. I'm going to let myself think about it for a minute and then I'm going to move on. And I want to add to that, which is don't be anxious at computer.
Okay, interesting. I have heard this advice, and I've always thought it peculiar, where people say to schedule time for your anxiety. Where people, I've seen it written as like, rather than worry about everything all the time, tell yourself, all right, at 5 p.m., I'm going to worry until 5:30 p.m. And then I'm not such a rigorously blocked out person that I have found that to be necessarily effective.
So I don't find that to be effective for me either.
And real quick, hello and welcome to Odessa TV. First time
Odessa.
chatter.
I think part of it is that it sounds rigid when you say it like that, but what makes sense to me is something that I do as a procrastinator is I'm like, I can't be anxious about that right now. I have to be anxious about that when like I'm available to be anxious. And the same thing usually happens, which is that sometimes I am really, really struggling with it. And I do, as soon as I'm done with work or whatever, I'm like, I'm going to panic a little bit. But most of the time I just forget about it. Which is, I think, the real function of that.
The real trick is to trick yourself. Kind of like how every morning I tell myself I'll take a nap after the show.
Yeah, exactly like that. Exactly like that.
Even if I don't, it'll help me be like, all right, fine. I'll be awake for 15 minutes. I'll be awake for an hour.
And this is not a roast of you, but something that I see you struggle with a lot. And this is also a thing is like when you have a partner that you are so lucky to get to work next to every day. And for better or for worse, we both have ADHD. So I think it's really interesting because neither of us can really bullshit each other when it comes to that. Like, we know.
Yeah.
So something that I notice happening to you that really messes up your day is that you will anxiety spiral at your computer. And that messes up your day in a lot of ways. One, it fucks up the space where you're supposed to be able to do work.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of like... There really is something to the like environmental effect and like the vibe. So a piece of advice that I didn't receive until very, very late in life and wish that I had earlier. And it feels obvious in retrospect, but it just never occurred to me. Just like you can form a habit physically, like any habit you might have, you can also form habits emotionally. Mm-hmm. And that's not something I was really aware of. In that if you become accustomed to feeling a certain way under certain stimuluses, those become associated and you just fall into a habit of feeling a certain way in a certain place. And I think for me, largely, I went through a period of burning out really hard at my desk. And so I think my desk itself can sometimes spur me to get into sort of a burnout state. And so you try and switch things up, change your environment, or like not bring that to the space you're in, because it helps you not build an emotional habit that is negative at a space where I don't have a choice to not be at my desk to do the things that I need to and want to do, right? So I need to not bring that kind of an energy and a habit to where I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, so partially it's that. It's that like you are creating like a bad memory. You're creating like a bad sense memory in this place that you don't want to feel that way in. And I've seen it cause a lot of issues for you, Mason, specifically, because then it's like you have this built-in anxiety about work that isn't even really related to work, which none of us need any extra of. And then for myself, something that I've noticed and what I think Mason can attest to is that when I start to feel overwhelmed, I sort of just instinctually turn my computer off and leave.
Yeah, which is something that I wish I was better at, for sure.
I mean, and it's like, it's just this sort of understanding. I was trying to figure out like what it really is. And I think it comes from a lot of work, honestly, like a lot of work I have done to understand. And I've given this advice before. We've talked about this. I'm not going to fix anything. Sitting here and anxiety spiraling about stuff that is very real. Like the fact that Mason lost his job and we don't have any money, or I have to call the government because they like don't want to give us health insurance and are being very confusing on their terrible website. That's really stressful. In that headspace, I'm not fixing that. I have to admit that I'm done for the day. And there's a piece of advice that my grandma gave me. I know we're like adding a lot of advice, but it stacks. A long time ago, that I just immediately forgot. I'm sure it was good.
If it was from your grandma, it was definitely good. Checking in with chat real quick. What do you think, bud?
Yeah.
Alex says, I work from home and the workroom is definitely the anxiety room. Mm-hmm. I have also experienced that. And I can try and think of some things that have helped me, and maybe they will help you. One of them is rearranging and cleaning your whole desk. Like fully resetting and like... no, you don't necessarily have to like rearrange everything, because you can't just like take if you're like me, and Alex, I know you are, you have a lot of bullshit plugged into your computer. Like I have the TV in our living room runs off this computer. The shit on the desk behind me runs off this computer. Like, so I can't exactly just like rearrange all the connections or anything, but just going through and like taking it down, starting at the top, and literally, I mean like physically the top, cleaning from the top to the bottom and straightening everything out and getting everything out of the way and just like resetting it and cleaning it and then making it smell good where you are is part of the key. So like some incense or a candle or like a wax warmer or something, because I feel like that when you then sit back down and everything is clean and it smells different.
Yeah.
That like for whatever reason, the smell is one of those things, at least for me, where you don't consciously work with smell the same way you do with sight and sound, right? You don't, at least I don't think so. I don't. So when the element of smell comes in, it kind of like short circuits right into like the base of your brain in a certain way. It feels like the complete picture, and you're like, okay, new place, new space, new vibe, which when you spend hours upon hours in the same spot, it can be really important. 60 Watts Lightbulb says, when you just get stressed by something enough that you start hating it or worse, dreading it, then the executive dysfunction kicks in.
It totally does.
Been struggling with that in a big way.
Yeah. And there's this thing where it's really easy to convince yourself. I'm fantastic at this. I will convince myself that I am the only person who can solve this problem. And part of it comes from a really good place, which is that I was raised to feel like I have a lot of power and like I'm able to be really independent. Like if there's something that I want to do, I was raised by people who raised their children pretty equally, like men and women as much as they could, who were like, my sons need to know how to cook. My daughters need to know how to cook. Everybody needs to know how to make a doctor's appointment, like really practical type stuff. The downside to that kind of energy is that I definitely have a streak of feeling like I am the only person who will do that. And I have to do it right now, because you do sometimes have to push yourself to do stuff. And sometimes that's really great. When it gets dysfunctional is when you are sort of putting yourself on this pedestal of like, other people need to rest, but not me. I need to make appointments. I got problems to solve.
You know how I know when you're stressed, Bug?
How?
It's when I punch out of the office and walk out into the kitchen and you have gotten into like meal prepping mode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I stress. And part of the reason I do that is that it is mindless for me, but it makes me feel safe. This is my nesting. If there is food to eat.
And then you end up with food. And like for you, cooking is a thing that I feel like takes stress away from you.
It does. I mean, and sometimes I like do too much and then I don't get to do the things I really wanted to do, like sitting down and like knitting or something. And I'm working on the balance with that. But I also do enjoy cooking. I don't know if anybody else has hobbies like that are sort of, I have a problem where I struggle to have any hobby that doesn't produce something.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like
the pressure to be industrious.
Huge problem.
Yeah.
I am a very industrious hobbyer. And I think the most important thing for me to unpack about that is that industrious hobbies are not inherently better in any way. Like what you get from the hobby is what is important. And so I have to detangle that as much as I love the industrious hobbies. Part of it is just like this childlike wonder. Like I always loved toys that made something.
Well, and there's something to, I think, a heuristic of how to decide when that is the right thing to do. And I think I'm either misattributing this to Hank Green or misappropriating it from Hank Green, because I don't remember exactly what happened verbatim. But he did a video about like Hank Green. Hank Green does a lot of shit. Like he runs a bunch of different YouTube channels. He's got Good Store, which is like a nonprofit store trying to sell like good products like laundry soaps and things that don't use a bunch of packaging. So Hank Green does a whole lot, and people asked him, like, how the hell do you manage it all? And he did a video that I'll link in the description of this after the fact. I'll need to not forget, where he talked about what he does is follow his tools and does the easy thing. The easy thing. And these two pieces of advice really stuck in my head that I really liked, where he said, he does the thing that feels easiest in the moment, because that is the thing that you will have energy to do. And if you are the kind of person whose hobbies and like all of your time, you feel that pressure to be industrious and like you want to be deep in a project and doing things, following the easy thing, you'll be industrious and you will also be allowing yourself to like relax and get into the thing you want to. And then the other part was like following your tools, which is like just following your interest in the things that you like, doing things the way you know how to do them. Yeah. And doing that in comfort. But I find that like you said, it's easy to get wrapped up in being industrious with something like cooking. But I think the best guiding principle in that moment is to then be like, well, what feels easy? Do I really want to sit down and now I'm stuck here, or does this still feel easy? And if so, it's okay it's not inherently bad to be industrious. Yeah. You can be industrious, but you just need to be in touch with whether that's really what you want or not.
And I feel like that advice also really applies to something that I think about a lot when it comes to, I talk about this Simone Yetch quote a lot too, where she talks about demystifying things. She talks about getting into stained glass and how she feels like learning how to do stained glass was actually really easy, but she realized it was only easy because she had spent years teaching herself how to do things. And I really, really resonate with that. I think there's this very real thing that a lot of us experience, especially if you got sort of burnout at any point in school, where you find yourself as a person who is afraid to learn new things because you are afraid to be bad at things. And I think this is really universal, but it's something that I really, really encounter with other AFAB folks or folks who were particularly socialized as girls, where so much of what you have done your entire life has been criticized, like aggressively criticized for not being feminine enough, for being too feminine. And like, if you were a teenage girl, fuck you. The world hates you and it hates everything you like. And so the idea of learning a new thing and not already being good at it, even if you're completely by yourself, is like actually clinically significant. Like I had to unpack this therapy style.
I've noticed it in people I've worked with in technical fields. Yeah. In like working with people to like help teach them audio engineering or like sound design techniques or even like IT stuff. There's 100% what you're saying.
But, and this will sound kind of counterintuitive, this goes back to what you were saying with this Hank Green quote, which is sometimes, and I think about this with knitting. Knitting was the unlock for me. Knitting and audio design. These were the two things that kind of changed my life. Two totally disconnected sort of arts that taught me how to learn again, and in completely different ways. What I think is really compelling about this is that with both of these things, there is a time to do what you know, and there is a time to learn something new. And when you're learning something new, there's a lot of learning something new within that. Like, I am sometimes, all I fucking want to do is start a new project. I'm like, goddamn, that is where my head is. I am going to do the math. I'm going to knit something brand new. And when I want to do that, that's what I fucking do. That's what I spend my time doing. But a lot of the time, I want to knit without thinking about it. Or I want to sound design to get an episode out. And you do that. You follow that. You use what you've already learned. And you can just accept, because when I've tried to push against it, that's when I get discouraged. That's when I start to feel like I'm not good at this. I'm never going to be good at this. I suck at this. You have to balance this like desire to innovate and to create. And also you're allowed to relax into the hobby. That's kind of the point of it, right? Like, that's why you learned it, is you want to be able to just kind of do it without thinking.
Well, and also too, if you're at all like a systems optimizer type, which I know some of y'all are, like me, I was talking with Clark about this. Clark is very into cars and is like tuning and tweaking his car. And he was like, I just keep getting so stressed and it's so frustrating. He's like, because like, I want to just enjoy this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I have this thing for fun, but then I'm just like, oh, I got to get like the timing right. And then I got to like tweak this and that and like get it perfect. And I find myself getting so stressed out about this thing that I'm supposed to just enjoy. It is tricky. And I want to pivot away and do some funny stuff before we wrap. But I do think there may be a tandem segment at some point this week about then how to be industrious when your industry is creative, which is something that I struggle with because not everything can be your magnum opus. And I kind of broke down on the phone with my very good friend Jordan, the voice of the intro, about this recently, and he gave me some good advice. So we might talk about that later this week. Right now, a real quick check-in with chat, and then I've got a silly news story for us.
Hell yeah.
So first things first, why don't we go ahead and check in with chat?
What about a quick check-in with chat?
Sid says, at me making checklists of things to do and including a thing that is so easy / something I've already done so I can feel good when I check it off. That is a good hack. And also, the checklist trick can be a foot gun in that I find if I make a checklist of things, if I get too granular, I'll get discouraged. But if you don't get too granular, you don't feel like you check enough things off. So that is a great hack. Slip something easy in there.
Oh, yeah.
Gotti Astronaut said, I really need to learn stained glass. Me too.
It's cool as hell.
We should all do a stained glass course sometime. I don't know how. Maybe at BripCon, we can have a contingent of us that can break off and go find stained glass. Egg Queen says, woof, this hits. Lightbulb says, okay, I do get this, but for me, it's not being bad at it. It's spending a bunch of money on a hobby that doesn't end up panning out and then feeling like you've wasted a bunch of time, money, and resources. To which I will say that the more things you do, the more they compound in ways you would not expect. And the money wasted part is a tricky one too, as someone who has like a lot of doodads and gizmos. But it still all compounds, and you may never know when you want something. And often, when you purchase something that is a tool for a hobby or something that allows you to do something you couldn't do before, you have that thing. Hang on to it, or you can give it to someone down the road. If it really isn't something for you, it's a great gift for people.
And I do want to jump onto that really quick too, because I get it, but there are a lot of other people like us, one of us, who are doing all these different hobbies all the time. So like Mason said, we can share in these things. We can share with each other. Like if you see someone doing a craft you're curious about, they probably want to lend you some stuff so that you can try it out and see if you like it. And also like Mason is saying, like, I tried to learn knitting for years and it didn't really work until I just had knitting stuff sitting around when I was ready.
That's the other thing. And also, like, things compound in really unexpected ways. I fell into the entire career I fell into, starting with making music with my best friend Tucker, and learning about audio, and then going deeper on audio and learning more about like wave interactions, and then learning about how the audio graph is voltage and how that goes out to speakers. And then that directly translated into, I had a bunch of groundwork knowledge for moving up into RF engineering, like talking about actually electromagnetic radiation from radio towers and like thinking about radiation and interference patterns. So like, and that happens even in non-technical things, like your art skills will compound with other stuff. Learning to deconstruct something visually into shapes, light and shadow and form and whatever aids you in all sorts of anything else with how you look at the world. So much like the quote from the expansion of Fallout New Vegas where you talk to all those brains, which is one of my favorite parts of any video game, time isn't wasted if you're enjoying it. If you're... Yeah, you know what? I'm not even taking a second take.
Yeah, girl, that's
you know
perfect.
what I mean. And then Emily says, I love stained glass.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, Bug. Hey, let's wrap things up. It's 7:56. We're coming up on the top of the hour. This is a story for you.
Bug and Moss aren't sure if this is really anything, so hey, is this anything?
Check it out on Odd News. This is from UPI.com, the Odd News website. They have other news, but I only ever look at the odd stuff. Check this out. I said I was going to tell you about pickles. That story is real short. I'll go ahead and share it. July 24th, 2026, the Ohio Department of Transportation said traffic was backed up on a busy highway when a crashed truck lost its load of pickles into the roadway. The department said on social media that there was quite a pickle Wednesday on State Route 316 in Pickaway County. The roadway was closed while crews worked to clear the truck and pickles from the road. No one was injured. The department, however, said that the pickles are speared. Oh. That's the entire article from UPI. They have a picture of, it just looks like a bunch of tipped over plastic. It's not really anything to look at. So it was a bunch of jars of pickles that smashed. But I was looking at that, and then I found the thing I actually want to tell you about. The world's longest foosball table has been debuted in Brooklyn, and y'all, it is a thing to behold. This 525-foot long, approximately 112 standard foosball tables put together, foosball table was assembled in New York on a Brooklyn street on July 11th, so a little earlier this month. A Guinness World Record adjudicator was on hand to confirm it took the title for world's longest foosball table.
It's wild.
This thing is frickin' buck wild. Look at this. Let me mute that horrible music. Here's the video of people playing with it. This thing just runs down the length of this entire street, and it looks like a heck of a lot of fun. I'm assuming they've got multiple foosballs going.
They've gotta.
Because otherwise it would be exceedingly boring. But a 525-foot foosball table, when I was in high school, in our lunchroom, we had a little annex on it that then was turned into the senior annex. And when you're a senior, you could hang out in there. And we had a foosball table. And
Hell yeah.
we played low-key, not to brag, got pretty good at foosball when I spent most of that year skipping classes and just playing foosball. Also, we destroyed that table so bad, but it was great because the kids from the shop classes would just make replacement dudes. Because what would happen is the little football dudes on the sticks, they would break in half, their legs or their heads would break off. And so then you'd just turn up one day, and we had like a metal guy, and it was not fair. It completely broke the balance of the table until both teams had about the same amount of them.
That's so great.
But like there was one guy that someone made that was like the heaviest, densest fucking foosball dude. It made that stick hard to spin, but it could send the ball.
That's so funny.
It was a blast. It was super fun. Coyote Astronaut says, this is so much foosball. Alex says, me waiting for my chance to hit the one foosball that's currently a whole yard away.
It would make the game so stressful too, because like I know that the only time I hit it, I'm going to knock it into my own goal. Like that's what's going to happen.
Just, own goal. Yeah, 100%. Foosball is so much fun.
Yeah, I almost said it's a great sport, and I stand by that. It's a great sport.
I love foosball. Foosball is a beautiful name for a baby girl.
Mm-hmm. Foos.
To answer a question that I saw in chat but did not, but we scrolled way past, by the way, Odessa TV, a new chatter, new freak in the forest, said, where are you guys from? We're broadcasting live from Kentucky.
It's true.
It is a sunny day. It's shaping up to be a warm day. There's no clouds in the sky, and I don't think there's anything to back this up, but that always feels to me like it's going to be a hot one.
Yeah, we also didn't talk about this.
7 inches from the midday sun.
Yeah, also, I just got scared as though there was a ghost in the room because I saw Mason's chair in my periphery on my camera, and I was like, who's in here? We went to a water park yesterday.
Oh, yeah, we did. I went to a water park.
We went down slides.
We went with our friends, and it was awesome.
You may notice that we were so good about sunscreen. Thank you.
Yeah, neither of us are burned except the top of my back.
Yeah, it's his whole back. I don't know why he keeps saying that.
Haven't been to a water park in a very long time. Mm-hmm. Floated down a lazy river lazily, and it was awesome.
I floated down I almost fell asleep like 6 times. It was awesome.
It was great. Yeah, I haven't been to a water park in probably double-digit years, like over a decade.
And Ed Queen wants to know which one. Summer Splash, I think, in Somerset.
I think it was Summer Splash in Somerset, Kentucky. And boy, was it a good time.
It was perfect because it was like not big.
It was not big. They had a wave pool, though, which was dope. Yeah. Never been in a wave pool. Felt like I was clothes in a washing machine.
Beautiful.
Full of strangers. It was a trip. And also remembered that I really don't swim well. I cannot tread water.
You've started floating, though, which is cool.
I have started floating, yeah, because I Yeah, I have started floating. I'm learning how to float.
Floating is huge.
N Squared says the water park I grew up near had this huge bucket in the air that would slowly fill with water and then dump on everyone like a bomb.
This one had that too.
I love that. Yeah, I love that thing.
We did not enjoy that because it was for the children.
It was absolutely jam-a-llama slam packed with children. So we did not go to that spot, but I saw the bucket and I was like, yeah.
I love those buckets.
Love a dumping bucket. As Grit says, they renovated it recently and the bucket is smaller. Shrinkflation. This is
That's
more talking.
disgusting.
60 Watts Light Bulb says, I have a deep need to go on the most screwy roller coaster ever again.
Yeah.
And says that, mine had the bucket too. A bell would start ringing when it was about to go off, then you'd run for cover. Yeah.
French Alexander says a giant bucket dumping water on me would fix me. Agreed.
There's just so much joy in splashing around in water. And also, they're always leaking like crazy, which I find is entertaining.
So like as you're climbing for the slide, it's like raining.
Yeah. And you're like, well, I guess if there's a place where all this stuff leaking doesn't matter, I guess it's here.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've squandered another perfectly good hour hanging out with us in the morning on the Bug and Moss Morning Telephone Show. And for that, we are forever grateful. You can join us every weekday, 7 a.m. You can follow us on Twitter. Not Twitter. I meant to say YouTube, and I got so confused. Follow us on YouTube at Bug and Moss TV. Hit that follow button on Twitch. We're creeping up towards 70 freaks. You can follow the podcast. I'm going to be streaming Fallout soon. I'll tell you more details in the Discord. We can join at bugandmoss.com.
Don't forget to vote for us for America's Favorite Couple. Your votes count 2 times right now.
Oh, yeah. Vote for us for America's Favorite Couple. We'll put the link in the description also. And if this show's also available as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I love you, Bug.
I love you, Moss.
This is Bug and Moss.
Yahoo! Wow.